Hey guys, welcome back to the member section. I want to just take a moment to make a little bonus video here for you. The content of this video is going to be controversial. So these are different types of evidence that have been found that basically prove that the earth is not in fact 65 billion years old and things like that. And one of the things that I find interesting that we're going to talk about here first is the fact that they have not only found soft tissue inside of dinosaur fossils. We're going to show you some pictures of that right now. So in 2005, Mary Schweitzer of North Carolina State University found collagen fibers in fossilized leg bones of a Tyrannosaurus rex. You're not going to be able to find a lot of this information unless you know where to dig. They're not going to come out and tell you this stuff in the main news. But to assert that something is millions or billions of years old, yet still contains soft tissue and still contain DNA and protein markers, that is a very bold claim, and it's actually been fought by science. So here's a microscopic view of the cells that were found. As you can see in the top left corner, you have your protein cells. The darker cell is your collagen cells. And I just think it's rather interesting that you're not being told a lot of this stuff. And I apologize for the plastic that's rattling in the background. I am in a tarped area right now, kind of out of the sun. But we're going to continue on with our video here. But there was also a discovery made called the Icca Stones, and there is, like, I think it was around 2,500 of these stones that were found, and I'm going to show these up and we're going to discuss these in detail here. And here we have the Icca Stones. We're going to let you look at these. These are some type of a dinosaur as we know them today, and as you can see, they are actually put on these rocks, and you're going to see not just the skin texture of these things that have now been proven because they have found these fossilized skins from rapid sedimentations, which proves a global flood because they've actually found these large mosasaurs, which are a deep sea dwelling, almost dinosaur type creature on tops of mountains. But these stones are dated back supposedly millions to billion years of age. It's rather interesting that we don't learn a lot of this stuff in school, that we're not seeing these discoveries on the news. It's almost like they're trying to cover something up. Definitely one of my favorites. Looks like, you know, Godzilla having a big battle with a very large man with a blade, and he's got some backup over there. So a lot of our mainstream scientists are trying to say that these things were faked on really old rocks, but they have actually come out and found that these types of stones, it's very hard to carve on because they're made of dolomite. For those who don't know what that is, it is stronger than diamond. Now, understand a lot of these are dating back based off of the radio carbon dating that they use to billions of years old. So either radiocarbon dating is wrong, which I believe that it is, and there's evidence out there to prove that the further or the older something is, that carbon dating really starts to mess up. So back in the 80s and 90s, they were doing some experiments with radiocarbon dating with mollusks. For those who don't know what that is, that'd be like your oyster shells and things like that. They were raising some oysters inside of a closed environment, and they knew that these oysters were only 5 years old, and they radiocarbon dated those shells, and they came up with numbers between 50 years and 5 million years. That is a very big difference in gap there for radiocarbon dating. So that proves that it's not exactly 100% on its accuracy. So I don't really get into the millions or billions of years of age based off of the scientific evidence that we have. Now, understand, in the world we live today, they try to cover a lot of that stuff up. So The next thing we're going to look at, this is, I believe, from the pre-flood world. This is some of the earlier civilizations of mankind. These are pictograms that were located on walls, not just here in North America, but all around the world. And you're going to see that they are trying to convey an important piece of information to us today. Is the reason that they put these things out. So these are images that actually date pre-flood. It's very interesting that a lot of these, you can find these across the world. I've posted some that are in North America that I have actually seen in person over in the Utah area, near Vernal, Utah. If you live in that area, I recommend you check out the petroglyphs. They are hard to see. You need to make sure you bring some very good binoculars. But this image here, you see the swirl pattern. We're starting to see that swirl pattern in the sky today. And most of these things that show these beings from another world, as they called them back in the day, it always seems to be a warning. This one here almost looks like it's showing a different position in the galaxy. Who knows? But what we do know is that something came from the sky and created a lot of problems down here on Earth. Here's probably one of my favorites, this one and the next one. It shows these busts of these different types of beings and things like that. It's just really interesting that we get a lot of stuff in mainstream science that they say, oh, well, it's just some kind of art where they were just drawing some stuff. Understand, ancient man like today, they drew what they saw. So this is something that they saw. This was real. This is real. And I believe it will be returning. And then, of course, this one almost looks like a type of a battle scene. You're seeing a lot of different types of beings, and then in the back, you're almost seeing like these superstructures, whether they be ships or whatever you want to call them, things like that. Understand, this does not prove ancient astronaut theory. That is a cover-up of the Genesis, that the sons of God came and took of daughters of men. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed making it. I'm going to try to start condensing these messages into a little bit shorter. I went back and watched the video, and there was a lot of information. It was a rather long video, so I just want to take the time to show the different evidence that's there. And we're going to keep these videos short so they're a little easier to understand what we're talking about. And we want to take this one step at a time in our members channel for our study. So our next study, I'm going to start working on that today. It may be Monday or Tuesday before that is actually released, just because I want to make sure that those videos are in depth and not so scatterbrained where it's so much factual evidence coming in. But I hope that we have actually taken the time to build a foundation for us to start looking into the earliest civilizations of mankind and how it relates to the Bible, and how the world has taken that to basically try to turn the Bible into a mythological, something just like a fairy tale book.